Right, okay. So,
Yeah. Okay, welcome to EMPR 320, Sam Wortley presentation portfolio. So I'm going to do, well, we'll see on the next slide. So the concept is to do a shoegaze book, the genre called shoegaze, and I plan to create a book that compiles not just everything I know, but like using other people's knowledge through contacting on social media and other various sources that people are friends I've seen at gigs, stuff like that. But I want to not just focus on the artist and albums like other books do, or like other source material does in this kind of vein. I want to focus on gear and how that like goes in tandem with the whole sort of history, sort of like how it's not just about the bands, it's about the technology progressing through time. And so I want to do a book which obviously there might be some other like there might be another format I might have to go for depending on time restraints, but this would be complemented with a 4-track EP of what I hope to be original music by myself and published by DMS on CD formats, but also streaming as well. So yeah, cool. There might be a cover version in there as well. It depends on time constraints really, because I've got like lots of tracks kind of knocking about and some of them half finished and that. So I don't know what's going to make the EP yet. So the manifesto is, yeah, like I said, to fill a gap in the market. As far as I'm aware, there's no like official book about the genre. There's like magazines, there's like blogs online, there's YouTube channels, but there's not like an official book that sort of brings the whole kind of history together and the bands compiled neatly in like one format. So I want to pay respect, appreciation, promote and archive a sound that does not get mass recognition. So I think it will help like promote the genre and give the artists their due. And I think want to promote peace and prosperity, like I guess we all do when we create music, and to show potential employers that like by doing the multi-format of a book and music, then I can show that there's more skills than just one skill, so a variety of skills. So how am I going to do this? I'm going to use Google Docs to write the text and add images and captions, which I've already started on. I'm currently at 12,000 words, which is like more than most people's dissertations probably, as Stu Welsh pointed out. Got to contact potential publishers and inquire about publication, which I've already started on. There is one company that I've already approached already, but like I don't know how sort of flexible they're going to be with letting me have creative freedom yet, because some companies are quite strict about what they want. Contact friends on social media in order to obtain photography that would be like on top of like photos I've taken myself at gigs and of pedal boards. Use words from interviews I've already done and conducted, and I've already done a couple on my YouTube channel, which we're going to come on to next. Already interviewed a couple of artists that are synonymous with the genre, and record an EP at home, maybe a bit here at DBS. And yeah, and DMS I actually discovered where it's moved to now, which Tony will like, because you were inquisitive about it, weren't you? It's actually by the courts, just down like the road going to Co-op, so it hasn't gone far at all. Schedule, so yeah, so basically need to write a sample chapter to begin with, to send off to potential publisher, and yeah, so write at least the first page for each chapter as well. I like to do so that introduces each chapter, and so people know what each section's about. make contact with at least one publishing company. So yeah, Sonic Bond is this name that's like keeps reoccurring in my head, and that because of a certain book I acquired, and so I got inspired by them. Get more interviews, so maybe in this time up until December I might be able to get another interview with somebody. The mixer that Alan Moulder would be really good to get because he's mixed a lot of the big records. So, but it might be a bit of a pipe dream in that because it's a bit hard to get hold of. Stay engaged with the market. So yeah, like during the time of writing, there might be new artists that emerge and new technology that emerges. So I need to always keep on top of what's going on. And then December into April. Yeah, hopefully all the chapters will be completed with the appendix, glossary, index, blurb, all of that good stuff. It should have a firm choice of publisher in a mutual agreement of publication. All necessary interviews conducted with excerpts transcribed. So that'd be up to the publisher to actually transcribe it, make sure everything's all good and that. EP fully recorded. Yeah, that should be alright. It's just 4 tracks, and like I said, I might dig into my Studio One, my DAW kind of library kind of thing, just to like see if I can complete any half-finished songs and stuff. And consider an audiobook. So Amazon, Apple, ebook, the Kindle version, stuff like that. That'd be really good to do. Just to make the book more up to date. And then, then I got the same kind of, I got the same idea here, but in a better format, in a graph table. Table, I mean, not graph. Can you cut that, please? Right, so yeah, like I said, collaborators there, look, so I've got some photos and that from certain bands already, that's done. And then creation of EP, publishers, images, writing. Hopefully by February I want stuff to sort of be on its the home straight really. And then there was, because of the editing issues, there was actually a risk section actually below, but like it's not really necessary because I'm coming on to that soon anyway. So target audience. Enthusiasts of the genre, obviously. Been a member of a Facebook group and that with lots of fans on there. Everybody ranting and raving about their favourite albums and stuff, and what pedal is the best one to get, all of that good shiz. And yeah, I contacted lots of got contacts from lots of meetups at gigs and online friends. So it's for those guys, they're going to be immediately interested. So hopefully I can sell a few books like straight off the cuff, really, with the fan base already there. Anybody who wants to learn more about the genre or just curious, I think it's going to be really useful for that. Talking about the early influences and the roots and stuff. So my channel, Shoegazing 93. Can be used to increase reach and attract buyers of my products. Maybe create a video to promote it. Sits at 1.27k subs, so it's not too bad at the moment. The risks, so may not be able to get my book published on time. Devised a plan B and C, which we devised it with Matt, didn't we? And maybe self-publish a softback version if it doesn't really happen. If I don't have enough time for a full book, may just be a PDF and staple it together. That'd be the last resort, really. Like worst case scenario. And then I may not get the EP finished before deadline. It's always another worry, but should be okay. Recorded, mixed and mastered, it needs to be suitable for whatever format I choose, platform I meant. which CD I said, and maybe SoundCloud, something like that. And don't get involved in stuff that will probably come back to bite me on the arse, which is always important. So I don't want to get, because I've already had somebody actually who I said, can I have that picture of MBV? And he said it'd be $150 or something. So yeah, luckily I didn't go for it. So yeah, I don't want to get involved in anything that's going to cost me money, and yeah, any like law disputes in the future. I went. How do I go back, Matt?
Cursors. Use cursors. Back arrow, mate.
Yeah. Cheers. So collaboration. So I've already done a couple of interviews there. With Gregor Kell from Drop 19s was a good interview. Then I've got Andrew Rose. Those guys there are friends from the Facebook group, and I managed to get some photos already from them. So that's working out well. And I've got my YouTube channel, just waffling on about shoegaze on that, as some of you guys have seen. Testing products and that's how I get interviews, by like setting up Zoom meetings with various artists and stuff. So I got that there. That's the interview with Curve. They're like they kind of had an industrial element to it, where they brought in like sequencers and synths, and so they're a bit like the band Garbage, but like before Garbage, like 9 Inch Nails with a woman singing, and that was a really good interview. Got lots of good insight into how he makes the music, and all the equipment used. And then there's John Caulfield there, who Tony's a good mate of.
I worked with him, mate.
Okay. Wasn't a great experience then, no? Alright, okay. Yeah, so that's good. So yeah, got those interviews there to rely on for facts, for information. And then I did collaborations with other people. Yeah, and just met people and that in real life and stuff, so that was really good. Got some photos from bands from different eras, the different decades, because I need to go up through the decades and stuff, starting with the late 80s and the early 90s, the golden period of the early 90s, and then 2000s, the revival in the 2010s. And then obviously now as well, there's a few other artists that's emerged. So I've got some pictures there. Yeah, I was inspired by this book here. So there's like adjacent genre, isn't there? Britpop and Sonic Bond Publishing. I found out about them through that book, and they specialise strictly in music books, and they are. But I checked out an interview actually with some of the authors for that, and they said that they can be quite strict with their format. So I want to have the audio creative output that I want. So I want to include lots of images, but in that book there's not that many. And the way they're just shoved in the middle as well, it's like non-linear pictures with the writing. So I don't really want that, to be honest. So yeah, and then there's another example of a genre book they do, the New Metal Guide, and found out stats as well. It says about how many pages they expect and how many pictures. So I looked up like other references to kind of decide on how many pages I need to do, how many images I need. So this gave me a good guide. Yeah, there, as you can see, like number of pages is stated, and the price as well, because I want to send this to retail as well. I'm considering like Amazon Books, maybe selling it on there. Waterstones and W.H. Smith might be a bit too ambitious for a debut writer, but I don't know, we'll give it a go, yeah? Alright, so now, yeah, so there's my evidence, so we're already inquiring about Sonic Bond. Nothing back yet. Probably jumped the gun a bit too soon, I think. So other material that already exists. So there is a magazine, a couple of magazines, and then there's a 5-disc box set, Still in a Dream, and that only talks about the bands in there. It hasn't got about the gear in there and the gigs, stuff like that. So I'm going to try and outdo those guys, really. Try and do something that they don't feature. Then there's also something called the Glider magazine, which is it's like an online magazine, isn't it? Where you can order it though. You can order it, and that guy's got a manifesto. The author, he says about trying to keep physical media alive, it's like of his nostalgia reasons and trying to bring it back. He's got his own manifesto, so I might copy something like that in terms of like writing a preface, like intro to the book. And obviously I'm inspired by a certain person in here as well for doing the audiobook. There he is, Mr. Ward. So yeah, that served as an inspiration. I'm not saying that just to get extra marks or anything. I genuinely am inspired. Yeah. And there's a potential rivalry as well, because this Ali Ennis guy is like, he's already created a shoegaze book, and apparently he's going to release it. He's going to release it in 2026. So the race is on. I'm like sprinting to the finishing line, trying to beat this guy. I was just laughing. The goddamn book that he's writing there sounds a bit angry there, doesn't it? Alright, time to get started in this goddamn book. But anyway, yeah. So I've got to try and I don't have to beat him, but obviously there is competition now. So I've got to be on the ball a bit and try and make sure my product's better. Research materials. So I've been looking at like labels about the relevant record labels, Creation Records and 4AD being the main perpetrators of it. My EP is so there's a previous example of like when I went to DMS last time, I got that EP made for the Access course. Thank you, Tony, for the picture. And and I'm already. That's just saying I'm already starting making music on my DAW there. That's Studio One Personas. So book sections, yeah. So there's my plan and stuff. Plan to get all those sections in there. That's taken from some source online. So I'm just going to go through the chapters quickly. So about just a brief guide of what each chapter consists of. So obviously the what is chapter, that's like what you expect at the start of it. And then why was it named? So talking about the press at the time, like NME and Sounds. It was like journalists and that gave it its name. And then talk about the early influences. So obviously the Velvet Underground, as usual, they're like pro to everything, aren't they, pretty much? In guitar music anyway. Brian Eno for the ambient, like long sustained delays, reverbs, like he's got to have a big say in the creation of it. And then obviously post-punk, Chameleons, Joy Division, and The Cure, and the Cocteaus. The Cocteaus is probably the elephant in the room, I would say, because they really did sort of take it somewhere else, I think, compared to the other post-punk bands. So yeah, there's that. Maybe a bit of Hawkwind as well. Maybe chuck them in. And then the artists. So this also serves as like a proof of concept, because I've already written this up. So what I'm going to do is write a bit of history about the band, like talk about each album and stuff, and then I'm going to do a key tracks list at the end. So I pick out 3 of their best songs, and get an image as well of the artist, and also talk about Central Gear as well. I'm just naming off the gear, and then I'm going to do Essential Albums and EP as a separate chapter, perhaps. Or I might just end up just including that with the artist page if it gets too much. The Sonic Innovators, Robin Guthrie and Kevin Shields. So I've got to talk about those guys, and yeah, there's more than that as well. But Mark Clifford from Seafield, I don't know if Matt's aware of him, of Seafield, because they worked with Aphex Twin. They were kind of more, they had like shoegaze elements, but mixed with the IDM stuff. They're on Warp Records. And the record labels, got like Sonic Cathedral throughout the 2000s and 2010s, they were really big. Club AC30, St. Marie and Shore Dive, they were all big in the 2010s. Still going strong now. And the gear, yeah, this is the bit where like other magazines sort of let me down a bit really. I wanted to fill the void really where they go wrong and talk about the sort of the 80s, like how digital delay and reverb, how that kind of set the I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, set the tone or whatever, but it made it possible to have all these like unrealistic delay times, like feedback at 100% and stuff. So all that's really important. And then up to the 2010s and 2020s now, it's like boutique pedals they call it, where it's like all these pedals that are like based on like lots of famous gear. So like, lots of the big rack effect units are put inside a smaller compartment. And then the gigs, so I've been to, in London there's like a Shoegaze Dream Pop festival thing. So there's like 7 or 8 bands. And yeah, so I'm going to talk about that festival. And there's another one in America as well. And Plymouth Pavilions back in 1992, they had the Jesus and Mary Chain, My Bloody Valentine, Dance with Junior and Blur all at the same gig. So something I found out about, which is that would be some real loud concert, that would be. And yeah, got to put some shoegaze chicks in there. Sorry, not really ethical, was it? It's alright, lots of respect. Digging myself a hole now. Right, and then I'm going to talk about Alan Moulder and that, so about the producers and mixers. He's done quite a lot of good work. And then we got a miscellaneous section, where it's like jokes and stuff. So this coincides with TikTok, and you know, the TikTok guys and that will really like this, and yeah, all the people who make memes wasting their lives, like myself. So yeah, there's funnier ones than that, but I thought the Dance Revolution was pretty humorous. Like, you gotta step on the pedal at the right time. And then there's the fashion in that. We all just wear stripy jumpers and shit, and curtains, haircuts. And then I've got evidence of an EP here with evidence here on SoundCloud, but you probably don't want to hear that, so let's move on, yeah?
No, let's do it.
Alright, okay. That's the, oh yeah, basically I've been experimenting with configurations as well, so this is how I'm recording. Been plugging in 2 amps instead of 1, so I'm getting really good effects by doing that. Well, obviously I've got some stuff rattling on here, so. I don't think there's any sound, is there? Oh yeah. You can walk behind. So I've got some stuff. Yeah, so I've got some stuff going on. Got some old band stuff in there as well. Yeah, obviously they've got the old reader stuff. Yeah, so yeah, cool. Said everything I need to about that, yeah. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Well done,
Thank
Sam.
you.
Yeah, that was really good.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, you are the absolute person that should be doing this shoegaze book and EP. You're obviously an expert at the genre. What do you call it? You know, the era,
Scene.
whatever. Yeah, the scene. Yeah. Yeah, you know a lot of stuff about that, so it's really inspiring to see how much you've dug into this and how you've built up a good following already. So you've got a really nice platform to launch something to on YouTube.
Chucking the gifts in.
I've got a few questions, Sam. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. A lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
So let me get this right in my head. So it's 4 songs, maybe 1 cover song, a book, maybe a potential audio book, and a physical copy. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. Although I think if the book is made, then how easy or hard is it to get the audio book? Surely. Well, yeah, because you're going to have to narrate it, aren't I? That's the problem. Didn't think about that. Yeah, so that's even more time. Yeah.
I mean,
unless I get Chat GPT or sort of AI to read it for me, it'd be like a robotic voice coming out or something.
wow, that would be totally against the disrespect.
Ignore that
the scene, wouldn't it? Yeah. No, I mean, and I absolutely don't want to poo-poo any of your ideas, whatever, because that's absolutely brilliant. But you know, that's a lot of stuff to do, Sam. So I would, you know, I'd certainly be thinking about unpacking those elements in terms of like how long they're going to take to bring to fruition. And you did have a mention of like a plan A, a plan B, plan C on one of those slides there. You know, and so I take it from the title of it, your main kind of plan A is to do a book. That's what you really want to do with some music, right?
Yeah, books, the bread and butter of it.
Yeah. Okay, so you know, I would definitely be thinking about how long is this stuff going to take you to do.
Done 12,000 words already.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can only talk from experience with the audiobook stuff side of things. It takes quite a while to do it. It took me 4 months to do one, which was a long one, I must admit, and it took me about a month to do another one. So there's a month of time. Right? It's totally doable. The book side of things, you've done loads of really wicked, awesome research there in terms of like how long some of them are, what's already out there. So I think you've got some really solid backup plans for that one, haven't you? You know, like, okay, get it published. Yeah, brilliant. Number 1, plan A. Plan B, self-publish it. And then you'd even put on there that you might even produce the book yourself and put them together. So you've got 3 nice, realistic ideas there, haven't you? Some of the things that you might come up against, with the major publishers versus independent ones, is that the major ones might have quite a lot of criteria to meet and hit. One in terms of like their, you know, like the length of the book, for example. You know, they might have to do a specific length. I know that most publishers they want 85,000 words. That's what they want for each book. But you know, for example, like an independent
Joe's face.
well, that, you know, that's a lot of a lot of words, isn't it? 85,000. If you equate that down to your uni word count.
When I'm combining it with the other modules as well.
Yeah. So, but independent publishers, there's much more scope to go in lots of different ways with that, like magazine format, small booklet, you know, a smaller book of some form. So I guess you know you really have to think about how long is this going to take you to write. You know, how long have maybe the chapters already taken to write you so far, and then try and like do a little multiplier. And see if you can figure out how long you think it's going to take you to put together. And maybe an independent would be, you know, a better publisher to go for. Downsides of that is it might not get you to like Waterstones and things like that, you know. So, you know, if that was an ultimate goal, you'd probably want a big major to be able to get you in all Smiths and all Sainsbury's, all that sort of stuff. So that's the kind of like downside that you'd have to miss out on if you went with an indie. But with the indie, you'd have much more creative control to do what you wanted. Exactly the same as music labels, right? So, and you've obviously got your option to self-publish as well. The content and stuff that you've got there all looks brilliant. You know, it looks ace, you know, and no, not many people are doing this by the looks of it. So
no.
Yeah, so you've hit
it was just an American guy, wasn't there, who I'm in a race with for 2026.
Yeah.
But I mean, that just shows you that it might take a while for them to publish it.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing, isn't it? I don't know if April, May is not really, it might not be long enough.
Do you know what though? Like you've got a good platform to release something on, haven't you? Because you've got a lot of followers on your YouTube channel already. So you've got a really good channel to put it across there. One of the things to consider as well is like, yes, it would be brilliant to be first to market, but also it's not actually that advantageous to be second to the market sometimes, because you can see what the first to market are doing, what price point they're putting at, where they're distributing, how they're putting the record out, and you can almost kind of learn from someone's mistakes in some ways, or you know, or emulate your own ways. So sometimes second to market is not a bad thing. All right, first to market is obviously great because you'd be the first one that had done it. But you don't know when the other person, your competitor, is aiming for, right?
Yeah. Well, what I'm thinking of doing is maybe do like a booklet or something for this module.
Yeah.
And then is it something I could continue with after?
Yeah, absolutely.
In my own time, and actually go for the big book after.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that might be. It might be worth putting that detail into this proposal, you know, so you're really clear about how long things are going to take to happen. I think, you know, because there's a lot of stuff you've got there. You know, and I don't want us to tell you not to do it. I just want you to, have a think about the detail when things are going to happen, how long they might take, and all the brilliant research that you're doing here is really helping. You understand that, isn't it? You know, you've dug really deep on that. Loved your manifesto. That was brilliant. Have you made an appointment with DMS to talk to them about the manufacturing costs and turnaround times?
Not yet, but then based on the previous experience with my EP and the Access days, I think we're looking at £100 or something.
Yeah,
it's quite a lot actually, just for a dual case CD.
They're quite expensive, even in the industry.
So it might even be just a digital file upload on it, MP3.
Sounds like 2 or 3 quotes, including them, would be a good move, just to get an idea about turnaround and costs, and then that might make a decision for you about digital or physical release.
I think there's a sleeve thing they do, isn't there? Like the sort of card sleeve, you just pop it in like that. But that's a cheaper option.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's really good. You're definitely being like really, showing respect to the scene, keeping that scene going, potentially keeping real publications going as well, which is a dying thing, isn't it? You know, like magazines close a lot of the time. It's a very digital world. You know, but if it isn't for people like yourself pushing things forward and making physical copies of stuff, then they do further die out, you know. So that's really brilliant. You've kind of like given a nod to the industry to like keep publications alive. It's going to rely on strong branding, isn't it? This project. This project really relies on strong branding, clear kind of like logos and themes throughout the whole project. How are you going to manage that side of things, do you think, like the brand of this? I noticed some of those magazines, they seem to have clear kind of like brands on the logos and things like that.
I need to come up with the title first. Just shoegazing, isn't it? With a slogan, maybe the soul of the shoe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Or the complete history.
You should call it looking at feet.
Yeah, the feet fetish people. Yeah.
What type of risks do you think or potential hurdles are ahead, or that could, you know, have an effect on the overall output?
Not getting all of the photography, but I've got like a substitute idea where I might just take a picture of like the album cover, and which I own. I own like a lot of albums and EPs, so if I just do that to represent the artist instead of getting a photo from them, that's another way I could do it without getting into any kind of copyright dispute.
Copyright. It's
It's a tricky one.
Yeah, I think one of the things with consent is you're going to have to carefully navigate this, because like if you went with a major publisher, they're so strict, you know, you really can't do a lot. It has to be 100% original content.
Also the fact checking as well, isn't
exactly,
it?
Yeah.
They want it to be realistic.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yes. So any of the photography or the interviews that you do really do want like some sort of release agreement to use to discuss that with anyone going forward, whether it is okay to use any of the content on there. And if you can get that clearance, then that's great, right? And then that's fine, that makes it okay. But you've also still got another layer to that, where if you produce this as a physical book, the cost increases massively when you use colour on jewel cases or vinyl or publishing a book. So there's cost implications. So you'll definitely want to check that the quotation of how much these things are going to cost to produce the physical versions. Then that will either rule in or rule out whether it's feasible. So that makes sense. Yeah. You know, definitely do it. I mean, this absolutely would be brilliant to have a colour kind of printed version, but it will be quite expensive to produce. DIY, I'm not so sure. You know, it might be a lot cheaper to be able to do that. You need to know someone with a decent colour printer, and it's possible, isn't it? But to go to a full print run of, you know, small booklets, you know, I would get some quotations so that you can get that clear in your head about going forward with that.
You could self-publish on Amazon, where you submit your book, and then they basically print it to order. But the ones I've seen haven't been brilliant quality, and they probably don't include reproduced colour photos.
Yeah. There you go, though. No, it's a really interesting point, that, Sam, you know, and that's called drop shipping, you know. So you've got actual manufacturers that will manufacture it for you. You've got an independent or a major publisher that would do the manufacturing for you. You've got drop shipping, like from Amazon or a distributor, like Tony just suggested there. So I think you need to drill down into those areas of research to, you know, to figure out the feasibility. The great thing is that you've got the backup plan, haven't you, of it to be digital, you know, and that's the brilliant thing about digital. It's so it's time, isn't it, more than cost. Yeah, so definitely some considerations there. Yeah, any other risks you can think of, or any potential hurdles?
Not really. No, shouldn't be anything else, should there? previously.
Photographs that are on Google Images are also subject to copyright.
Yeah, I haven't used any Google ones.
No, but it's just because it's there doesn't mean you can use it. Just
Yeah.
quite careful.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So
It's alright in academic work, but not in.
Yeah, in commercial
Yeah.
work or whatever. Yeah.
I think, you know, how heavily reliant is this booklet going to be on images, you know, to illustrate what you're doing, and where are the sources of the images going to come from? I mean, if you've taken them,
I've
that's
taken.
That's
I've got
fine.
a lot. Yeah, but not every single band that I want to include.
Yeah, so I would just consider that, and with your draft chapters, you know, have a consideration as you do that. Also, as well, send out those chapters to as many people as you can to get some feedback. You know, especially anyone that's into shoegaze, some direction. Because the examples you just put up on the screen there looked brilliant, looked awesome. So if you had some cleared images, I think it would be really, really good, along with like a 4-track EP. I think you're onto something that's wicked. Yeah, and you are definitely the man to do this, isn't he, chaps? Yeah.
Obsession.
Yeah. Anyone else? Any comments on that, Jared?
I've got two things. First one is the guy who's also putting out a book, 2026. Is he talking about the gear as well? You didn't say if he was specifying the gear route or if he was just doing it on shoegaze.
Yeah, it's a good question. There was some information about it on his website, and he didn't really reference. No, he didn't mention that. He didn't say about the gear.
So he still might be doing something different than him.
Yeah.
It could be, yeah. Might be just the artists that he's focusing on. Yeah.
Maybe he's just doing it on the genre. And the second thing was that starter pack meme. Did you make that yourself? So I've seen you wear.
See where everything. No, that's general consensus.
Found that out there.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That makes me very happy. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the Hoovers really funny because they think the guitars sound like Hoovers in some cases.
It's not far.
Good work. Well done, Sam.
Cheers. Nice one.